come to you live as we begin the first of 3 days of memorial ceremonies for former First Lady Rosalynn Carter.
Yeah, so right now the Carter family motorcade is arriving at Phoebe Sumter Medical Center in Americus. Mrs. Carter's remains will be transferred to a hearse accompanied by past and present members of her U.S. Secret Service detail.
You know, you already see some flowers and people lining the way. This again is Americus, Georgia, a small town relatively, 16,000 people, but there is so much history just at this one place at the university where Mrs. Carter went to school. She was just a graduate when she married former President Jimmy Carter, and her legacy has continued on in such a strong way as we see the police officers riding by right there on their motorcycles.
And you know, it's just so great to see Mrs. Carter. She was born in Plains. She died here in Plains. She spent a majority of her life here in Plains, like you said. Her and Jimmy actually growing up not too far from each other. I believe they were right next door. Jimmy's mom helped to deliver her as a baby, and then they met in their teens and they got married and really just had a really strong life. People love Mrs. Carter. Yeah,
and because she had a lifelong commitment to really empower people who often felt like they weren't seen, caregivers, people dealing with mental health issues, and people who loved people with, you know, who were dealing with mental health issues, which is why this is such a significant place that they are at today at this Georgia Southern University, because this is where her Institute for Caregivers is, and the work has been done in so many ways. This looks like the hearse carrying the body of former First Lady Rosalynn Carter, 96 years old, passed away after a battle with dementia, and a courageous decision to share that publicly in line with the work she did through her entire adult life, shedding light on issues dealing with mental health and caregiving as she went into home hospice in those final days of her life as well.
Yeah, and Cheryl, as we take a look here, you can just get a sense of the energy, the feeling down in Plains as they head to the wreath-laying ceremony. I mean, if you head to Plains, and we've done a lot of reporting in the months since Mr. Carter was announced that he was going to go to hospice care, all the way until now, just over a week when we've announced the death of Mrs. Carter. Anytime we go down there and send our reporters down there, you can really just get a sense of the community there. People just have so much love and respect for the Carters. They were lifelong residents in Plains. The parents lived in Plains, and when we speak about just her lifelong commitment to mental health, like you were saying, it was interesting. I read that, you know, Mrs. Carter, she had a lifelong goal to make mental health not a taboo subject. She wanted people to really take it seriously, and at that time, you know, it wasn't celebrated to say I have a mental health issue. It wasn't popular to have a therapist or anything. And then it's kind of a full circle moment, because then she was diagnosed with dementia. So all of her life's work went into saying, you know, now I'm hoping that somebody will help me.
And the way she embraced caregivers, as we see friends, family, dignitaries, loved ones coming out of different buses that were brought there for this wreath-laying ceremony. If you're just joining us, this is at Georgia Southwestern State University in Americus, not too far from Plains, where the former First Lady was born, but where she graduated with a degree in 1946, and then spent many years contributing through the center that she established there as well. You know, she first started understanding caregiving herself when she was 12. Her father was diagnosed with cancer. She watched her own mother serve as a caregiver, work outside the home, raise her and her siblings. She saw that struggle. She understood that. And then later on the campaign trail with Jimmy Carter, when he was running for governor, she met a working mom at a cotton mill, and she just kind of said casually, well, I hope you go home and get some rest. And the mom said to her, I won't be able to rest. I have a daughter with mental illness, and we can't find anywhere to care for her. And it really, that's where it started. And then this quest to help those who were in caregiving roles goals started really in tandem with their political journey through all the years and brings us here today. And really significant that this wreath laying ceremony happens where the Rosalynn Carter Institute continues to do that work day in, day out, thinking about how can we better equip and serve caregivers among us. Here they've branched out beyond Georgia now nationally